Very warm good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 231st session of CENTA's webinar series for teachers. I'm Alokparna Das, Manager of Learning Products and Content at CENTA. We have a delightful topic today, grounding techniques, bibliotherapy activities to integrate SEL. Isn't that interesting? Bibliotherapy activities. And I feel very honored to welcome Kamaini Joshi, our facilitator today. She's an amazing educator and a hidden poet. Welcome, Kamaini. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you, Alokparna. Thank you, CENTA.
Yeah. And before we start the session, let me give you a brief introduction. Well, I'll try to keep it as brief as possible, but there is a lot that Kamaini has done. Kamaini Joshi, lecturer of English at Rajkiya Pratibha Vikas Vidyalaya in Dwarka, Delhi, has been in the field of education for almost 30 years and has been working for 26 years in the Directorate of Education. She received her degrees in Masters and B.Ed from Delhi University and has a postgraduate certificate in teaching English from English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad. She has done many things. Just a few of them. A 3-week program in integrating social emotional learning in the English language classroom in Washington, D.C., USA. She has presented at the TESOL conference in Portland, USA, under the US Alumni Exchange Program. She has done her mentorship and leadership training from NIE Singapore. She has made visits to RIE Ajmer and schools in Tripura for a pedagogical study. She has been the guest speaker at LBSNAA Mussoorie for the IAS batch of 2020-21 on school transformation. She has developed listening modules during lockdown for primary and upper primary students. She initiated the We Love Talking online series for confidence and communication skills. And I viewed one of those last week, right, where the students from India and Lithuania were talking about music. It was a really delightful session. Kamaini has presented live sessions on NCERT, Swayam Prabha, and PM e-Vidya channels. She has given on-site academic support and workshops for teachers in private and government schools all across India. And she has done a lot more, but I really will not have the time to enumerate them here. So we're really happy and honored to have her. But I have to add one interesting detail. It is indeed fitting that Kamaini is going to talk about bibliotherapy and SEL, because more than 30 years ago, Kamaini and I would head to the college and university library whenever we had some free time. And we even shared a membership of the British Council Library because it was so expensive. So today I am here, just as eager as all of you, to listen to what Kamaini has to say about bibliotherapy. But before I hand over the session to Kamaini Joshi, I would like to inform all teachers that they will receive the participation certificates for the session. So do please fill out the feedback form that will be shared with you towards the end. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form. And now let us, I'll hand over the platform to Kamaini for grounding techniques, bibliotherapy activities to integrate SEL.
Thank you, Alokparna. While you were introducing me, I was just thinking, my God, 30 years.
So more than that, 33.
Yeah. I hope you all can see my screen. Just give me a head on that I have. You can all see it. Can you see my PPT? I just want to make sure.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining the session today. We will be talking about some grounding techniques and bibliotherapy activities to integrate SEL. And with SEL, I would mean social and emotional learning. Before we begin, I would like all of you to please make yourself comfortable wherever you are, whether you are sitting in a chair or a sofa or sitting on the ground or on your beds, wherever you are, please make yourself comfortable. If you're holding on to things, please leave them for a little while, because it would be necessary when we are doing grounding techniques. And if you have something to write on, a paper and a pen, that would be wonderful. Just keep it alongside with you and make yourself comfortable. To begin with, I would want all of you to think of your favorite color and look around to see if you find anything in a similar color, a similar shade, and if possible, write it down in your notepad or a paper that you're carrying with you. If the object that you see of a similar color is nearby, just keep it close to wherever you're sitting. And could you make a list of things that have this color or shades of it anywhere around you, or you can think of them? For example, the example I have given here is as if I have my favorite color as pink, a water lily would be pink, a rose could be pink, dragon fruit could be pink, a candy or a dress. So anything that you have chosen as your favorite color, try to make a list of things of these colors, of these things that you have with a similar color. Those who can use the chat may write down the names of these things along with the color that they have chosen. An example or two would be okay. If somebody could read the chat and let me know as to if there
Uh,
are any answers to
yes,
this.
ma'am. Hima ma'am is telling rainbow color,
Okay.
then blue color, then Nagrani ma'am says blue. She's having a pen rubber band,
Okay.
near her this thing. Then purple, pink. Then one of the teachers is having dupatta, the same color,
Okay.
whichever she likes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yes,
thing
ma'am.
is that we are trying to absorb the colors around us with our thought processes. Right now, if I think that my color is pink, I would try to recall all the things that I can think of in pink, as similar to the ma'am who said that purple is her favorite color and that she's wearing a purple dupatta. So we'll be one with the color for a little while. Think of as many things as possible because we want to sit calmly with the color that we have chosen. Sometimes, when we are in a race to complete our work, when we are just running short of time, sometimes running against time to complete our work, we seldom have time to sit down and appreciate the things around us. Just observing colors and things around makes us a little calm, at least for a little while. You can do this activity with your children whenever you begin your class or whenever you begin a lesson that you want the children to focus on. This helps in focusing. You may want to adapt this according to the level of your class, according to the level of English that they know, or any other language that you're doing that helps in bringing focus. The next thing that I would like you to do is some grounding techniques. So you will have to be a little observant now. Okay. What are the 5 things that you can see? Now, here is a little trick. Not solid things that you're seeing around that are quite easily visible. Now, think of something that has a pattern, or if you can see reflection of light somewhere, some object in the room that you are sitting in and you have not noticed that before. Just try to be a keen observer and look at the 5 things that you can see. Not only solid things like almirah or chair or table, something that is more detailed. And if you can see that, and you can write it either in your notepads, sheets that you are carrying, or on the chat box. Anything unique that you find, things around you.
Ma'am, Ramya ma'am says sweet, fan, cushion cover. Then Nawaz says, Jarvis says spider. Parvati ma'am says windows. Suma ma'am says it is airy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then Jonaville ma'am says rice cooker cup, my laptop screen. Few of
Okay.
the teachers they say shadow, spacious,
All right. So some
pattern.
patterns in all these things that you're watching, somebody who's watching a screen, maybe there is some kind of a pattern around it. You have chosen some screensaver or anything on the keyboard, the keypad that you have, anything that you noticed today, which you have not noticed before, perhaps. Some pattern on the cooker lid, something on the window, some kind of grill. Observe it keenly for a few seconds. I'm sure you will be able to watch more clearly and keenly. If you have been able to do that, let's
Ma'am,
come to
Anshu ma'am
something.
says
Yeah.
reflection of the light, shadow of the
Yeah.
table and the wall.
Wow. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one.
My
What
water
are the
bottle
four
weight.
things?
Yeah.
Sorry, Harsha, please repeat. Harsha, can you repeat what you said?
Ma'am, windows, the shade of the windows, ma'am. The shade of
Mm-hmm.
the windows, which is
Okay.
falling on the floor. Yeah.
Okay. That's great observation. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one. What are the four things you can feel? Now, what are the four things you can feel? For example, the kind of clothes that you're wearing. If you're applying some moisturizer in your hands or feet or face, if you can feel that, or the chair that you are sitting on. And if there's nothing like this, pick up any object that is lying near you and try to feel it. Any four things that you can feel, sensory feeling right now with your hands. This is what I mean over here when I say what are the four things you can feel. So if you can write it on the chat box, that would be great.
Ma'am, Kumud ma'am says warmth of my quilt,
Wow.
cold breeze, warmth of sun today,
Hmm.
then comfort of sitting on a sofa, soft cushion,
Okay.
cotton skirt, wooden chair, pencil and glass, book in my hand, warmth of sun, dip in temperature, pillow, book, mouse, pen, bangle, cat,
Okay.
cartons,
Fine. These are
comfortness of the
things.
chair.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
let's come to when you pick these things or hold these things, what is the kind of texture there is? Is there any smoothness to it? Is it rough? Is it cold? As some of you said, they are warm, quilts, etc. Any other quality that you can feel while touching it? Rough, smooth,
Ma'am, Kumud ma'am
soft?
says, yes, ma'am, tasty aloo parota.
Okay.
Then Mayuri ma'am says, soft, ma'am. I think she's sitting on the sofa. That
Okay.
teacher she's telling, yeah. Soft clothes, then light and rough, cold,
Yeah.
soft and tattered label, rough,
Okay.
softness of my cushion, cool temperatures, sound, rough pen, so on, ma'am. Smooth.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sure we have been able to feel quite a few things around us. We'll go on to the next one. And what are the three things that you can hear? Apart from I speaking and you listening, what are the other things? Anything from the background that you can hear? Or any sound that is constantly coming from afar or nearby? For example, the ticking of a clock or some traffic noises, anything. You can write those things here.
Ma'am, children playing outside, sound of throwing ball, birds chirping. Then hearing my students talking in the background, car
Okay.
sound, my son's
Uh-huh.
voice,
Okay.
a train passing by,
Uh-huh.
fluffy and bumpy, hearing cars horns, vehicle horn, bird chirping, chattering of
Okay.
kids at home,
Mm-hmm.
then fan spins, bang of the door, horn of the bus, children laughing, birds chirping again, ma'am. Neighbors
Okay.
TV, horn
All right.
sound, smooth cup. Yes, ma'am.
Great. So there are some sounds that are going to be very happy, happy sounds. We love listening to all those sounds, the children laughing, the voice of your son and the bird chirping. All these things are very positive and very, very, very happy sounds. Some of them can be really ear shattering. For example, somebody talked about the TV from the neighbor's house. If it's something enjoyable, you can just lean and listen to it more keenly. Otherwise, you don't like those sounds. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. What are the two things you can smell? Somebody who's having an aloo parantha, I am sure you can smell it also. So, anybody who can smell a perfume or anything around you, the air, even if you're sitting near the ground and you can smell the things around you, the grass or the trees, the flowers, anything.
Hot piping tea, ma'am.
Ah,
Breeze of the air, smell of veg puff, shampoo smell from my hair, ginger smell
okay.
in my tea,
Oh,
my
okay.
perfume.
Uh,
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Lovely. Okay. Now we are left with one. And what is the one thing you can taste other than the aloo paratha? Is there any taste that is lingering on right now? Or you can recall some taste that you had something in the morning or a little while ago?
Ma'am, Jonaville ma'am is saying my ramen that she smell, ma'am,
Okay.
smells good for her.
Okay. Any great tastes?
Ice cream, rusk, banana,
All right.
fried yam,
Mm-hmm.
samosa with tea,
Okay.
so on, ma'am. Puri, pani puri, sweet barfi, gajar ka halwa, masala
Oh my
dosa,
God. Wow. Mouth watering, all of them.
rice curry, a meat chat, Moshimi man says, then chicken curry,
Uh-huh.
Britannia 50-50 biscuits,
All right.
smell of coffee,
See, so
chaat masala, tea,
one of you must
coffee.
be tasting it, the others are enjoying the taste.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yeah. So I think everybody has
Yes, ma'am.
tasted all these things before, and we can just recall the taste right now, sitting here, one having it and the others tasting it side by side online. Okay. Thank you so much for participating and writing all your answers here on the chat box. These are some of the grounding techniques that would help you ground, actually, be calm, and take the next decision, whatever you're going to do, in a very calm and peaceful manner. Sometimes, as I said in the previous slide also, that you need to sit down quietly sometimes to plan out your next lesson, what you want to do next, or you want to sort out things because of the kind of schedules that we have in school. You need to be always on the run. So these things, if we try one thing at a time and try to do these things with our children as well, it is a great way of bonding with our children. Not only are we just looking at things, feeling things, hearing or smelling or tasting them, we are coming closer to our children, closer to our colleagues in many ways, because we are now listening to each other. And listening becomes a very important part of any social emotional learning lesson that we do, or if we want to develop any relationships in our classrooms with the teacher, with the students, with our colleagues, with the administration. It is very important that we feel comfortable, that we listen to each other. Listening becomes important. Feeling, seeing, hearing, smelling, everything becomes important if the relationship has to grow and if the bond has to become secure and they have to become long lasting. So we can try with a few grounding techniques. There are many, many kinds of techniques because we have paucity of time and a limit of about 1 hour. We cannot have all the grounding techniques in one way. You can just go to the net and search of many, many more grounding techniques that you can do. But for beginners and for your everyday classroom, you can pick up any of these that you want to try. Let's go on to the next one and see. After doing all these grounding techniques, would you like to draw or describe in words how do you feel right now after you have participated in these grounding techniques and the color that you have chosen for yourself? And you may be experiencing more than one emotion at a time, and if you want to draw it, you can just draw. And if possible to show, then show. If not possible, then keep it closer to your heart. Others can write it down on the chat box as to how you feel after the grounding technique. Any one word, 2 words, phrases, anything will do.
Suma ma'am says she's relaxed. Pinky ma'am
Mm-hmm.
says feeling calm. Guneet Kaur ma'am says amazing, enthusiastic. Sonal ma'am says happy. Mr. Mickey is saying I'm feeling relieved and entertained. Priya ma'am says connected. Then wonderful, relaxed, light and relieved. It feels good to refresh your mind through simple activity. I feel pleasant, amazing, feeling relieved, joyful, connecting to you, happy, all these, ma'am.
Thank you. So all of
Delightful.
us are feeling happy, and let's be prepared for the next thing that we are going to do, because we are all happy, all excited, calm, and relieved at the same time, because we are ready for the next thing that we are going to do, and that is feeling something great about our own selves. This is let us think positive. I am dash because. So you think of something to call yourself, give yourself a very positive quality. Say, I'm confident because I have prepared my lesson well. This can be one thing. You can do many more, and please write it in the chat as to how you feel about yourself.
I can see we have another participant there.
Yeah, this participant doesn't leave me.
So that should make you happy right there.
Yeah, she's also participating. Harsha, could you read the chat if somebody has written something?
I can read actually. So
Yeah,
somebody says,
thank
I'm
you.
relaxed because my work is all complete within the time allotted. I feel
Great.
blessed because I have lovely talents. I
Mm-hmm.
am
Good
enthusiastic
news,
because
okay.
of I'm enhancing my skills. I'm strong because of my experience. I'm happy because I'm well planned. I'm excited because I'm here with you right now. I'm confident. I'm a learner because I learn daily. Stacy
Mm-hmm.
says I'm a good teacher because I know how to plan my lessons well. Rajini says she's happy. Maria
Mm-hmm.
De Silva says grateful because God has given me another day to live. Trisha says
Yeah.
positive because I'm optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then I am blessed to have good friends from Anshu. Pratima
Wow.
says she's connected. So we have a lot of positivity. Happy because I have a lovely family, Chaitanya.
Wow. All
And
these words are going to be helpful in some of my slides, which are going to come next. Wow. So half the work is
yes.
done.
But the best one, I think, for all the Indian participants is I'm happy because tomorrow is a half day. Yeah, somebody wrote that. It went by too quickly. I couldn't
So
see
how
that. But
truthful.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We
I'm
always
happy
look
because I'm
forward.
a teacher. Aisha
Yeah.
Begum, I'm happy because I'm a teacher. So
Oh,
that's really
wow.
nice.
What a wonderful feeling. Yeah. Great.
Okay, somebody has mentioned that we can't apply this activity for senior classes.
Oh, I've done this with teachers. I've done it with class 12. We can do this activity. Why that doubt? I would like to know. Please put the question on the chat box.
Vandana
As to
Rastogi has said we can't apply this activity for senior classes. So
this
Vandana,
one, which we call as I am dash, or the one you just said about the grounding techniques, that I would like to clarify, please. If you could
yeah,
answer
we'll wait
that.
for Vandana's.
Yeah.
We'll wait for Vandana's. John Livingstone says, I'm cool because I'm happy.
Wow.
And I'm excited because your session is enjoyable, says Sri Priya Ravichandran.
Thank you.
Mickey's Empire, I'm smiling because I'm having a webinar with Kamaini ma'am.
Wow.
I'm happy because I learn daily, Hasnabad, Manjula.
Wow.
I am a multitasking person because I can do any given task. This is
Great.
from Monica. That's. Oh, Rosedale says I'm happy because dinner time already. So I think that's a good reason.
Yeah, we need to bring positivity in our lives and think at all the positives that we have. As many of you might not even, think on this. This is a very simple line. I am dash because dash, right? But to fill it, to think about it, what is good about me, or what I am feeling good about today, all these things matter in the long run, because the moment we start thinking positively about ourselves, we start thinking positively about the atmosphere, the surroundings that we are in. There may be many things which trouble us throughout the day, but if you start thinking positive, at least one quality that gives us a better perspective of things around us. There can be, challenges to this. It's not easy to do, but we need to form a habit of telling this ourselves again and again, that there is something which is very positive about me. Today, something different, maybe tomorrow, something entirely different. And every day, we need to remind ourselves that we are positive. We are positive because of a certain reason. And to find that reason is equally important. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling today? Right? And that's the way we bring cheer into our lives. Uh, let's not be all preachy, and let's go on to the next activity and see. We have been talking about grounding techniques and social emotional learning. So, what is social emotional learning? The first circle that you see is, it says self awareness. Self awareness mostly means about identifying our own emotions, how we feel, how we react to things, how we respond to things. Uh, do we have an accurate self perception about ourselves? Are we able to recognize our strengths as we did in the previous slide? Do we feel self confident? Do we feel that we have a sense of self efficacy? Does this happen with us? Do we feel efficient in the work that we are doing? All these things become a part of self awareness. I would, since I'm presuming that everybody is a teacher here, uh, think of any lesson or a story that you have taught in the class or you have heard somewhere where a character shows self awareness of any kind. If you can think of a story, anything that comes to your mind right now, where the person or the character in a story was able to identify his or her emotions, was able to recognize her strength, or showing self efficacy or self confidence, just keep those characters in mind when you think of all these terms. Because if we are not able to think from our right immediate environment, there are stories that bring us closer to these words. Were the characters self aware? Could you see self awareness in the way they were able to conduct themselves in the story or in your surroundings? Just think of characters from real life or characters from story. That would help you in understanding this word self awareness. Identifying our own emotions, accurate self perception about ourselves, recognizing our strengths, our self-confidence, our self-efficacy. That would help in understanding what self-awareness is. Once we have been able to come to terms and understood the word self-awareness, let's look at the word self-management. Self-management would include impulse control, stress management, some kind of self-discipline, motivating oneself again and again whenever you feel a little down. Motivate yourself. Have we set any goals for ourselves? For today, for tomorrow, for the week, for the month, for the year? Have we done anything like this? Are we able to do that? And do we have organizational skills? All these terms come under self management. Are we able to manage ourselves? Again, I would ask you to think of characters from stories or around you whom you have seen practicing impulse control, stress management, self discipline, motivation, setting goals for yourselves. Have you been able to do this for yourselves also? If not a character, your own self, have you been able to do it in your life? Think of all those moments. The next circle that we see is social awareness. What is social awareness? Perspective taking, empathy, appreciating diversity, respecting others and people around us. All this comes under social awareness. Again, relate this to any story or any situation around you where you have been able to take perspectives around you, and not only your own perspective in things, but looking at the social behavior or the social setting where you are able to understand and empathize with people around you and appreciate diversity. And showing respect to others' values, to others' decisions, to others' way of thinking, their mindsets. Are we socially aware? Uh, at this point of time, I would like to ask Alokpanna, do we have most of the teachers sitting here taking school classes? Or are these participants from diverse backgrounds other than school teaching?
So they, a lot of them are school teachers, but there are others who are in. There are others who may be in other parts of education,
Okay,
but most of
fine.
them are school teachers. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'm sure we have so many instances in school where we need to be self aware, where we need self management and not immediately act on impulse. And we need to be socially aware because of the diversity of kids that we have and the diversity of teachers that we have coming from different social, emotional, economic, cultural, linguistic backgrounds. So if we understand self awareness, self management, social awareness, all these words might be striking some bells.
There's a question that I'd
Yeah.
like to bring up, if that's okay. Suma Vivekanandan has said, "Is it possible to practice this in any class?" That's what she's asking. I think you will take it up later, right?
Yeah, no, we can just talk about it here because if we don't answer it here, we will not be able to move to the next circle. Um, it is very, pertinent to take up this example from your classroom teaching that you do. If it is a live situation that you are dealing with in the class, all these things help. You can have a counseling session with the children. If not that way, that you can ask the children to look at the chapters that they are reading. If it's a literature class, Any language that you teach, a local language, the mother tongue. If you're teaching Hindi, if you're teaching English, there are stories that you might be teaching as the literature portion of these books or the curriculum. We can easily relate self awareness, self management, and social awareness through these lessons. Why I asked the question beforehand was because of this reason, that we usually take up lessons while we are teaching literature and talk about either factual questions from the lesson, or we talk about extrapolative questions which are relating them to their lives. But we need to now think in terms of social emotional learning and think of how the characters behave the way they behave, why the characters behave the way they behave, why did a particular speak in a particular style, why did the third person who was listening to it react in a way he or she did react to that situation. So if we take perspective of things, if we are socially aware, if we have self management, or did the character show self management, if we are able to analyze that way, we are able to relate all those things to our real life stories. If anybody here is teaching class 10 NCERT textbook, there is a lesson called The 100 Dresses, where the chapter is about a girl from Poland, and there are students from different. She's a student from a different background in comparison to the children who are studying in America at that time. So, how she fits or does not fit into that school situation, a kind of bullied in the classroom, all these things, if you keep those characters in mind, it is so easily coming out as to how the character who was a Polish girl, was she self-aware, was she able to show self-management, were the other characters in the story socially aware. We can relate all this to the stories that we read in the class. Literature helps in understanding all kinds of our social emotional needs. The only thing is we need to focus on this aspect the way we are teaching literature in class. So this does work in the class. All we need to do is shift a little focus so that the children are able to relate what they are reading with their actual situations, wherever they are, to their communities, to their societies, wherever they live. And then we come to relationship skills. I hope I was able to answer in some way to the question that was raised. Um,
Actually, there's the opposite now. Somebody's
yeah.
asking how do we do this in pre-primary and kindergarten, and somebody
Okay.
from Philippines has said that it is very useful in teaching literature, and they've been using it in Philippines. Jonavel Castor has said that, so
Yeah.
just wanted to bring
Fine.
that up.
When we are talking of primary and pre-primary or kindergarten, we cannot go to characters or something, but we can just show them things or cartoon characters and let the children respond to the fact: did they like this person behaving in this manner? What was so good about the person who was behaving? I am immediately reminded of a cartoon character that I used to watch with my son when he was a kid. That was Oswald. This is an octopus and he keeps helping out people around him. Uh, if such cartoon characters become a part of your classroom study, I don't know whether you have that kind of an arrangement in your school where you can show videos to children. You can ask the children as to how they feel. If they are not able to speak in words, you can have smileys there and they can pick the smiley as to how they feel with that, whether they like it or they don't like it. Because with kindergarten you need to be more actively involved in terms of more pictures, more colorful items, realia, so that they are able to relate it to it better. But definitely, students can do self-awareness, self-management, and social awareness. And small students are great examples of learning it like that. Whether they like something, whether they have been able to talk about, whether they have been able to see whether they are are able to identify their emotions, whether they felt good or bad looking at certain things, whether they were able to help out their friends, when the friend helped the child, how did the child respond, and how do they sing song and play together. Children are able to do all these things. Obviously these terms are not supposed to go to children. The terms need to remain with the teachers, but we can always observe all these things in their activities. Then we move on to relationship skills. Relationship skills are more about communication, social engagement, relationship building, and teamwork. As with kindergarten, we can all do teamwork with them, how they can all bring things together and play together. And this is how you can build those relationship skills over there. If you are narrating a story, you can talk about how one person helped the other person, how the other person who was not helped felt, being kept away from the group. All these things can become a part of your stories. You will now have to carefully choose your stories for that matter, you know uh, where you can bring up all these issues of self management. We all listen to stories, fables, um, the hare and the tortoise. Now, what happens there? Self awareness, self management, social awareness does happen. Relationship skills also happen. And we come next to responsible decision making. You can pick up any story and try to figure out which of these. Maybe in some of them, all five do not go, but one or two can be picked up, right? So, if it is responsible decision making, were you able to identify the problem? Were you able to analyze the situation? Were you able to actually solve the problem? Were you able to evaluate? Was the character in question able to reflect? And did it feel the ethical responsibility? So all these things come under responsible decision making. The practical aspect of all the four others things that we have done, as self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. If we have these qualities, or if we are aware of all these hidden qualities inside us, we become responsible decision makers. And when we are not responsible decision makers, we can pinpoint as to why we were not able to do a certain thing if we look back on all the four other things that we have just seen. Why we were not able to accommodate ourselves somewhere? Why did the way I react, the way I reacted, could I have stopped for a little while and responded to the situation rather than immediately replying back to somebody and then making the situation, very tense? Or could I, or was I able to very easily make the situation lively and, happy, because I tried to control my impulses, sat quietly to respond in a better way than I would have done if I had reacted immediately. So the question of response and reaction, that helps in a responsible decision making. Sometimes we can reflect back as to if something went wrong or something went right, what would have been the reasons? How did everybody around us help in, helping me achieve wherever I was able to, set a goal for myself and achieve that? Did my relationship skills help? Was I socially aware of the things that I was doing? Did I manage my things well? So all these things are all interrelated. And if anything goes wrong anywhere, we need to reflect on which of the other skills we need to work on so that we are able to become responsible decision makers. Um, any questions here or anything that you would like to share? And then we go further.
I think you can go further right now.
Thank you. The next thing that we'll do quickly is, if you have a pen or a piece of paper with you, can you differentiate between price and value? And if you can write in the chat quickly in one line or two. Can you read the chat?
Yes, I
If
will.
anybody has written the difference between price and
Yeah,
value. Yeah.
yeah. Nobody yet. Parvanu has said very informative and interesting, but nothing yet on
Okay, if I
price.
have a pen with me, it costs 5 rupees, that its price. And what is its value?
Yeah.
That I am able to write something with it, something knowledgeable, something wise, and I am able to pen my thoughts. That's the value that pen has given me. So, a definite difference between price and value. In similar way, you can, yeah,
So somebody has written, Tetpalli Suryakala has said, amount and worth. Price and
yeah,
value would be amount and worth. Price is the
right,
cost of something, value is the importance of something.
yes,
Divya says, price, how much do we need to pay to purchase something? Value, what it means to me, right?
yeah,
Price, importance. Marolina Henry says, price is the monetary value, and value talks about the utility of the thing. Srija
okay,
says, price is quantifiable. Probably value is not, right?
great, 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 lovely answers. Thank you. Let's come to the
Tangible,
next wall.
intangible.
This is my gratitude wall. Yeah, intangible, totally agree. My gratitude wall, you can ask your students to make gratitude walls in the class, in their notebooks, and keep penning down as to who do they want to pay their gratitude to my teachers for instilling values in life. This is one gratitude, that I was able to have food. So gratitude to the one who prepared it today in the morning. Or anything that you want to do, this you can put up in your class, put up in your staff room. It's a very great way of bonding with the colleagues also. Put it something there where everybody can see, and just keep writing on it whenever you feel happy or feel thankful. And if it is there, the other person can come and see and start thinking positive about himself or herself, and about others as well. So we'll not write anything here right now and skip on to the next one. This is only for the purpose of just letting you know that you can use a technique like this in your classroom. Let's go to bibliotherapy, the big word that was there in the beginning of the slide. What is bibliotherapy? It is a term that was used in 1916 for the first time. And reading books can help individuals deal with deep concerns. As what I say here on the slide is, I read a book one day and my whole life was changed. This is from the New Life. Orhan Pamuk says this. And you can think of any one book as a response to this comment. So quickly in the chat box, write down any book that helped you change your life. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Any book that you think has changed your life in any way. Any responses yet?
The Secret.
Okay, yes.
Kunjan says The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
Parvati Nambiar says Chicken Soup for Women. I see a Bible. I see Gita, Wings of Fire, Ikigai, 3000 Stitches, uh, Ramayan. Then I see a lot of people have written The Secret. There's somebody who's written Who Moved My Cheese, You Can Win, Power of Silence, uh, the Bhagavad Gita again, and then The Alchemist, Oru
Mm-hmm.
Vagu, this thing, sorry, I couldn't get that. Power of the Subconscious Mind, Oru Vagu Parai, A Thousand Splendid Suns, yes. Books by Sir Kalam, Rich Man,
Mm-hmm.
Poor Man, Attitude is Everything, John Livingstone, this thing. Then School Management, To Serve with Love, Mahashweta by Sudha Murthy,
Mm-hmm.
Wings of
So
Fire
there would
again.
be one or the other book that has helped you change your life. And how did it change the life? The words that were there that appealed to you in some way or the other, and that helped you in changing your life. So words are very important, and we need to understand the therapy these words do to us. And the way you were able to relate to any situation in the book helped you remember this book, and you definitely made some change in your life after reading the book. This is what we can do with our children as well. Give them books, ask them to become good readers by giving handing on books to read, maybe a small piece, story to begin with, and then go on talking about books in the class. Why is it important? Because it enhances literacy. Language has its own benefits of learning, because you use language everywhere possible. It enhances critical thinking and creativity. Also, we do not read books only related to the small community that we live in. The entire world is there. So you have intercultural competencies. When you read books, you understand cultures of different places, and there are broader educational aims, of which you all know how it is important for career and other opportunities as well. What's the focus when we are reading literature? It fosters the love for reading. It piques curiosity as to why and what happened and why it happened. It has great relevance for students because they need to learn the ways of life also. Literature does not just show you stories, but it prepares you for life in many ways, because those characters come out from the books and really live outside in the world. So you're able to relate them. And when you're doing this in the class, you can use literature in multimodality. For example, you pick up a piece of a book or a paragraph or a stanza from a poem and ask them to show it how they would express themselves in the way of a role play, a drama, a drawing, or if they have caricatures, if they can show, they can make cartoon strips, because we're talking about our classrooms. So all these have to be focused, because question and answers is not the thing. You need to pick up only from stories. You need to learn more about the world from it, and you learn world Englishes. There are colloquial languages used in books. You have all kinds of slangs also coming in. You have all kinds of backgrounds being talked about, various food items, various dresses that you talk about. So you learn all kinds of word Englishes also. There is Indian English, there is Polish English, there is African English, there is Oriental English. There are many kinds of English. So when you read books from various parts of the world, it helps you understand many kinds of world's Englishes also. Let's go on to the next one. Um, we can pick up a book that interests the students. You know your students well, so you can pick any book for them or ask them to select a book. Read out a few passages or sentences and then make a pause right in the middle of the story and ask what they think happens next. And why do they think this happens next? It can be a short story to begin with. Later on, you can have the lesson divided into parts and let them guess what happens next. That's a great way of children coming up, working together in pairs, as teams, and they're able to speak out, read, and write. So you're talking about all the 4 skills of language learning as well. So this can be a great way of making your children speak out in the class, because this is what we sometimes see as we go to senior classes. The students stop speaking. So you need to pique that curiosity in them as to what happens next. If the things go the way they decided or they thought would the lesson would go, like, they become very happy. Otherwise, they start thinking on various ways in which they can end the story. So you can just go beyond the textbook to let them explore more. Then you can dive into a book. I have picked up one of my favorite books, To Kill a Mockingbird. You can highlight an expression or a passage that you like or dislike, or find a relevant word or anything of importance from the book. Then you need to explain why you like or dislike the part you chose. You can identify the purpose or the role of that part, what parts of the text support your view, why you are saying certain, why did you like a particular character from the story, what was something special about the character, did you learn anything from the character for life. All these things help in understanding literature more and bibliotherapy. I would now like to read out a little story to you. I think we have time of 2 to 3 minutes to go through the story. If you can all lend me your ears, I will just read out a small story to you. The name of the story is The House on Mango Street. Mango says goodbye sometimes. This is the title of the story. I like to tell stories. I tell them inside my head. I tell them after the mailman says, "Here's your mail. Here's your mail," he said. I make a story for my life. For each step my brown shoes takes. I say, and so she trudged up the wooden stairs, her sad brown shoes taking her to the house she never liked. I like to tell stories. I'm going to tell you a story about a girl who didn't want to belong. We didn't always live on Mango Street. Before that, we lived on Loomies on the 3rd floor. And before that, we lived on Keeler. Before Keeler, it was Paulina. But what I remember most is Mango Street, a sad red house, the house I belong, but do not belong to. I put it down on paper, and then ghost does not ache so much. I write it down, and Mango says goodbye sometimes. She does not hold me with both arms. She sets me free. One day, I will pack my bags of book and paper. One day, I will say goodbye to Mango. I'm too strong for her to keep me here forever. One day, I will go away. Friends and neighbors will say, "What happened to Esperanza? Where did she go? Will all those books and paper, where did she go? Why did she march so far away?" They will not know I have gone away to come back. For the ones I left behind, for the ones who cannot out. So, this is a short story about a girl called Esperanza. If you bring stories like this to the class and ask the students to react to the story, they may use the multimodality mode, they may draw, they may speak out something, they may question, they may role play. So, all these kinds of things help in developing various emotions inside and understand the character from the point of view of the character rather than we as judges who read the book from the outside. So we delve more into the book, more into the literature, and we learn more about it. Uh, are all interpretations acceptable? I can just ask you to just go through this, whatever it is written on the slide. It says, the art of the novel yields its finest results not through judging people, but through understanding them. So understanding is of utmost importance. And let us avoid being ruled by the judgmental part of our mind. When we read a novel, morality should be a part of the landscape, not something that emanates from within us and targets the character. Wherever the story is written, from whatever perspective it is written, we as outsiders need not be judgmental as somebody sitting outside. We need to be a part of it, about of the landscape, and then see how the character reacted or responded the way he or she did. Um, I would come to the next one. Um, you can read out a poem and repeat the action several times, and you will see that you are able to remember the lines of the poem after you have enacted it in various ways. And I'll now go back to the poem that I wanted to show you. This is a poem called Dream Keeper by Langston Hughes. Bring me all your dreams, bring me all of your dreams, you dreamer. Bring me all your heart melodies, that I may wrap them in a blue cloud cloth away from the too rough fingers of the world. Let the children repeat this by making some actions. You can use your hands, you can use your fingers to let them read the story, read the poem once, repeat it several times, and then you will see that the children are able to learn the words of the poem with the actions that you do. There's another a small, beautiful poem that I can read to you, 4 lines only. Grandpa's Story, it's named. The pictures of television do not make me dream as well as the stories without pictures. Grandpa knows how to tell. So the how to tell becomes so important that we need to relate all these things with our children, the way we speak, the way we bring the stories, the poems to the class, and the way the children relate with them. That helps in understanding how the poet and why the poet wrote what he or she wrote, and we are able to connect with the writer and whatever the writer meant to tell us through the poem or the story that he wrote for us. Uh, Further, there's another short story that I would like to read out to you. And with this, I would open the house for questions. Um, The little box. The little box gets her first teeth, and her little length, little width, and little emptiness, and all the rest she has. The little box continues growing, and the cover that she was inside is now inside her, and she grows bigger, bigger, bigger. Now the room is inside her, and the house, and the city, and the earth, and the world she was in before. The little box remembers her childhood, and by great longing, she becomes the little box again. Now, in the little box, you have the whole world in miniature. You can easily put it in a pocket, easily steal it, lose it. Take care of the little box. You have the world inside you. Your worlds are very rich and noble, and whatever you have aimed to do in your life, because you will be able to do it because the way you are and how you are and the way you want to carry yourself. So, all little boxes here and all little boxes everywhere. We have hearts inside, we have the world inside, we have the earth inside us. All we need to do is share this earth, share this world, share this little length and breadth with everyone around us. Thank you so much for being participative in the workshop here. Thank you. And if any questions,
I'll just wait for 1 minute for the questions. However, what I would like to say is while people are writing their questions, I would say thank Kamini. This was a very engaging and informative session for our career, for our community. I'm sure that our teachers have taken a lot of takeaways from this session, and I made a few notes: grounding techniques, color therapy, positivity, social emotional learning, response, responsibility, gratitude wall, and most of all, bibliotherapy. Predict, dive into the book, the multimodal mode, different interpretations. I think all of those are very, very internal or very important for this whole bibliotherapy during a session, SEL and bibliotherapy. So we will be sharing the record of participation for this webinar by tomorrow once you fill the feedback form. Do attend our next session on the TPO webinar series on decoding social science MCQs, which will be held on 29 Jan. More details will be there in the feedback form. So thank you so much everyone for joining us today. Everybody is saying very interesting session, a wonderful session, and very insightful. So I think we'll have to close the session now. We've gone a few minutes over, but thank you everyone, and thank you Kamini for holding this lovely session. To all our participants, please register for such more webinars on our center app, and don't forget to fill the feedback form. Good night to all of you. Have a lovely evening, and to those of you who are from India, Happy Republic Day. Thank you.
thank you. Happy Republic Day to everyone here. Thank you. Bye bye.